I bet those glasses make you see better.
Rosie Marcellino and, of course, Andrew Wilson from The Crucible, both here to debate the fact that the U.S. should remain secular, feminism is good, and Andrew is a grifter. This evening, we're going to start with the grifting topic and move on through the other two. Josie, would you like to deliver your opening statement, please?
Yes, thank you. So tonight I'm discussing a few things with Andrew Wilson. While secularism and feminism are points upon which we disagree, and I look forward to the discussion that we'll have about those two topics. The reason that we're here tonight is because I publicly called Andrew Wilson a grifter, and I stand by that statement. So I'm not here to argue whether or not Andrew is lying about his political ideologies, and I will not argue whether or not he's got Christ in his heart. When you go to receive your judgment, it's not me who's going to be standing in front of you. However, to win a debate traditionally, you make your arguments in front of a judge or panel and then try to determine, they try to determine whose arguments were more persuasive and well supported through evidence. That judge or panel is meant to be neutral. Debates are traditionally meant to sway those who are on the fence or convert others to your side of thinking. In informal debates, that is not the case. In formal debates, there are rules for speaking and decorum. Informal debates are not seeking to discover truth. They are simply just to be right. They are to own the other side. Andrew's own courses, Verbal Combat or Debate University, in name alone give a false sense of prestige, credibility, and expert-level knowledge. Psychologically, Jesus. It derives trust Junior. And postures him as a leader or authority figure. This is not something that is unique to Andrew. It is a truth for virtually everyone in this new age debate bro era of informal debate and online discourse, and that applies to people on both sides of the aisle. Andrew is no different from Brian Atlas, Destiny, Myron Gaines, Dean Withers, Charlie Kirk, or Hassan Piker. A grifter is defined as somebody who uses deception to deprive people of money or possessions. Now, I am not arguing that Andrew's grift is in his beliefs or his ideologies. I am arguing that the grift of Andrew is that he is benefiting from the sham that is modern informal debate. Andrew is monetized across all platforms. His YouTube happily accepts donations, and for the one-time price of just $249, you can purchase his Verbal Combat course and become extra insufferable at all family holidays. The purpose of debate is traditionally to further exchange ideas, sometimes conflicting ideas, and to work towards progress. Formally, I may need my glasses at some point because I am blind and I am reading my notes. Forgive me. In the sport of these live social media debates, the objective is not progress. It is just to win, as I mentioned, by owning your opponent. It is to create drama for clicks and curate algorithmic gotchas. As per the recent studies published by the NIH Library of Medicine, consuming this type of content does more harm than good to the viewer. There has been a particular uptick in reported cases of anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation on both sides of the aisle. Reported feelings of isolation and distrust are skyrocketing. You are writing a prescription for a problem that you are manufacturing. Now, obviously, I am sat here engaging in this very thing that I am disavowing. I am not a political commentator. I am not a seasoned debater. I am a comedian. I am actually letting down my own audience tonight who wants nothing more than to see me call you a big gay dildo and then rub the olive jar moment in your face. But that is not my plan for this evening. I am not here as a comedian. I am not monetizing from this stream in any capacity. I am not making a move to be a figure in the debate space. My only objective tonight is to pull the curtain and show the audience what this really is, which is just a money grab. I have no intention to operate in this space or be a political pundit moving forward. The fact that Andrew is here and willing to debate me is evidence of this grift in and of itself. I have said things about Andrew Wilson before, publicly, on Twitter. on various forms of social media, I've said things about Andrew, and he has never engaged back. It was not until one person with 5 followers tried to appeal to Andrew, and then I tried to very directly tell this person, he does not care about you. This is not, he doesn't actually care about his audience. He's not your crusader. He's not trying to help you. It wasn't until I made that point and made that curtain pull that Andrew then decided to acknowledge one of my statements and challenge me to this debate. The fact that you would waste your time on an unseasoned, inexperienced debater, someone who is not in this space, is evidence that you are just looking to own your opponent and to clip farm through this. So that is my opening statement. I'm excited to see what we're going to have in front of us tonight. I will yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Josie. And Andrew, to you, please.
That's it. That's it. Like that. Are you sure?
Yeah.
You got all that time, and those were the points that you wanted to make?
There will be more points. We have a 2-hour discussion ahead of us.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's only 30 minutes. So you're sure you can bring up whatever you want, like whatever you want. You can bring up in your opening. You still got plenty of time. You sure?
No, I'm sure we can end that part there. I don't need to just ramble on and give you a speech.
Okay, so I guess we'll go through it one point at a time. She defines a grifter as somebody who deprives people of money through nefarious means. I don't see how me having a debate course people ask me to make for them does that. Sounds like somebody's asking me for a product. I created the product, and then I sell the product. Now, if it were the case that I was selling a product and then wasn't delivering on the product, that would be depriving people of their money through nefarious means. And I would say that, yeah, that would probably entail grifting of some kind. She also makes some kind of ridiculous statement. She says a judge or a panel in a formal debate needs to rule who wins. It's not the case. Most of the time, judges in formal debates are actually there in order to keep the debate on track, just like in informal debates where you have a moderator. She says an informal debate isn't there to discover truth, but that's exactly what it's there to do. The thing is right now, the entire inquisition that she's giving me on being a grifter is for her to try to tell my audience what she believes is the truth, right? So she negates her own opening statement immediately. She says, for $249, you can purchase Debate University. That's true, but I just want to let you know when I launched it was $500. We sold a lot of courses. I'd only recently lowered the price since Christmas because I'm a really nice guy. She says the objective of debates isn't progress. It's designed to own the opposition. The truth is that we live in a world in which people have very, very small attention spans. Because of this, in order to kind of grip them into the things that you're trying to relay to them, and by the way, comics do the same thing. They release bits of themselves, kind of highlight reels of the things that they do and the things that they actually said which were funny in order to put that out so that people can find them and watch more content from them. They are not, and I guarantee my opponent's done this. I'm sure if you go to her own channel, she'll probably have very short videos of her, which are designed to put her in the best possible light so that people will come and check out her comedy and content. She's guilty of the exact same thing she's accusing me of. She also says that she has a study, but I want you to actually produce a study, and here's why. Something I'd like to point out is that most people who produce studies, especially in debates, haven't actually read them. I would like to actually ask my opponent directly, and I'll give her just a very quick amount of time here because it's still my opening statement, to just answer this truthfully, right? Did you actually read the study, yes or no, or did you just read a synopsis of the study? The truth.
I read the study.
Okay.
Both of the studies.
And how many pages is the study?
I read it through the web browser.
Yeah, how many pages was it?
Well, it was just, I scrolled through the
how
study.
many pages was it, though?
I wasn't looking
Was
at
it more than 50, maybe?
Scrolled.
More than 50? 100? 200? Yeah, you didn't read the study.
Right
okay,
now.
so anyway, I just want to point out, back to my opening statement here, right, that I guarantee you that she just told you first live the night. By the way, she snuck in a personal attack right away, right? I just really want to call Andrew a PK dildo. I really just want to call her a stupid fat bitch. But you know, the thing is like, I guess we can reserve our opening statements, and we can do this one of two ways, right? It can either go off the rails, and we can determine who's better at the insult flame war. Guarantee you I'll win that. Or you can stick to the content. It's totally and completely up to you. right? But considering the fact that it looks like you still are addicted to the fork, I would be very cautious about going down that road. By the way, no evidence at all of any grifting whatsoever. She says he's trying to waste his time with an unseasoned debater. Actually, that would prove that I'm not a grifter, that I do think that the ideology can get out, including to whoever her audience is. The fact that I'm willing to engage with her, and I engage with, quote, nobodies all the time, including on Twitter. I have no idea where she's even trying to go with that exactly. So so far, I haven't seen any evidence of grifting. All I've seen is a bit of personal incredulity. Andrew Wilson have course, sell course, therefore grift. Very strange. I don't see why it's a problem for me to create a course that highlights various debate skills that people seem to want and are willing to pay for. So with that, I'm willing to dive right into it. Just remember, it's up to you how the debate goes. It's up to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And as a kind reminder to the audience, we're going to get through the Andrew is a grifter portion of the debate. Then we will move into secularism and then feminism. Of course, we will get through the debate, go into closing statements, and then read and respond to your kind super chats. Thank you so kindly. Of course, as always, tomato tradition, we will go into open panel afterwards, but I know we will be kind of on a time crunch as far as the debate is concerned. Josie and Andrew, I leave the floor open to you.
Yeah, so how does me having a debate course give evidence of grifting exactly?
Okay, so why did you name your course Debate University?
Well, because the idea there was to follow up with more courses for debate that I could sell for a profit in the future.
So there was no intention behind naming it university to maybe foster a sense of trust or imply a level of expertise.
I think it rolls off the tongue well.
And the whole verbal combat. Why did you choose to go with a theme of war or fighting?
Yeah, so a lot of my debate style comes from there's a sequence of old books, especially written by prison guards, who express and explain the ideas behind what is called verbal combat. What verbal combat is, and combat no contact, is that you're always, when you're engaging with opposition and engaging with ideas, you're in a form of mental combat. That's what's going on. And so the reason prison guards obviously do it is because they want to defuse situations so that they don't escalate. If those situations escalate, their very safety is at risk. I was always a big fan of that because I think ideologically that's also true between the left and the right, that these are very high stakes conversations ultimately. They do change minds and that they do have effects in society, and it is a war and it is combat with no contact.
You feel that this is combat, that this is a verbal war.
That the ideology between the left and the right, yes, it is war, yes.
But the discussion between you and me, you feel that this is combative.
Well, the debate course isn't called, how to debate with unfunny comedians. The debate course is called verbal combat. The idea behind it is the left-right dialectic and how to engage with progressives and feminists in debate and beat them. And yes, I do think that is an ideological war, and it's been going on for a long time.
And so who are your famous or political, or who are your famous graduates? I'll frame it that way. We'll keep the university theme.
You don't get diplomas. It's not a diploma mill. You just buy. Okay. You can buy the course and watch it. There's no There's no certificate. There's no graduates. And by the way, it was never framed as being that ever. It's never been framed as being that.
You don't think that university implies that there's some sort of course completion or certification that comes with it?
There's nothing like that in the course. Never has been.
So you think that the word university in and of itself doesn't imply that?
Do you assume that people who are interested in debating with opposition using their verbal IQ are so fucking stupid that they're going to be fooled by the word university inside of a slogan to get them to buy a debate course? You just think that they're really fucking stupid and that you're really smart? Like, you wouldn't be fooled, of course. Just them, the stupid plebs in my audience. They're just too dumb to understand that even though this was marketed as a way in which you could tango with somebody ideologically and win, that somehow they're going to be fooled into thinking they get a diploma in what? How to debate kind of better? Like, what do you think that they're being fooled by here?
I think they're being fooled into thinking that, okay, well, if I learn from Andrew Wilson, if I buy his course, I'm going to be an expert. I'm going to know how to be an expert debater. That's what it's going to be. So maybe not necessarily a physical diploma, but certainly
Have
that they
you
would
have you watched the course?
I'm not giving you $249, Andrew.
Okay, so the
But I
answer
can,
is no.
yeah, of course it's no.
Okay, so then if you don't even know what the content is or what's expressed in the course or how things are described to the people in the course, this is not a classroom style where you have a chalkboard. This is me expressing the laws of logic. I brought in multiple logicians who were expert apologists to walk through the format of logical debate online. And thus far, I've gotten a very, very positive response from people who have viewed it. I
And
don't
what
know
have
what to
those
tell
people
you.
gone on? What have those people gone on to do? What have they
Well,
accomplished?
many of them debate pretty prominently online. Many of them right here on this very channel that you're on right now. There's been dozens and dozens of them. Who it seems to have helped them quite a bit. I get many emails from people who say it seemed to have helped them quite a bit in their personal lives when it came to dealing with their boss, coworkers, things like this. Um, I was surprised. I didn't even know that that would be a potential side outcome for the course, but apparently it was. This was really just focused on how to engage in ideological verbal combat across ideological lines and how to prepare people who have my ideology for that if they had interest in it. And it appears that it worked very well.
Can you name any of the seasoned debaters that you have educated?
You mean the ones that go on this program?
I've personally never seen this program. I
Oh,
wouldn't
well,
I don't know their
well,
names.
then how would you know if I named them and I was lying or not? You should take my course, and then you wouldn't fall into those traps.
I'm saying you can name if
Oh,
they're,
sure. John,
you know,
Jill, Jack, Jim, Fred, Chuck, Terry. Go ahead and refute that I'm lying. To prove it.
so
Prove that I'm lying. Prove it.
but no household names, no major names in the debate space, nothing like that.
Well, what is it? What's a major name in the debate space? What would you
I mean,
consider
I
that
would
to be?
argue that your name would be a major name in the debate
Yeah,
space. Anybody would.
so people have been at this for years and years and years. And do you think that this course was marketed as though if you took it, you were going to be launched into prominence on YouTube for your debate skills?
Well,
Do you honestly think that?
again, the word university would imply that if you complete it, you would gain some sort of level of expertise.
No, it
I
doesn't.
believe
It doesn't imply that.
that is
It,
actually
yeah,
what the word university would imply.
no,
Yeah.
it
A
literally doesn't
university.
imply that. All that the university would imply is that there's some level here of learning that's going on, not that there would be a level of expertise that goes on after you're done learning whatever the said thing is. For
Well, but
instance, you
that's
can
not
have an
what
introduction to debate, which I have, for instance. Why would that entail that you would instantly have some sort of higher level of expertise? All it would mean is that you receive some form of education on something. That's it.
well, then why not debate elementary school?
It's not as
That's not
catchy.
as catchy.
I would argue that it would be more appropriate if it's
Why?
just
How would you
purely
know? You haven't watched the course. How the hell do you
by
know?
your own
Like,
by
how do
your
you
own
know?
by your own admission.
Okay, well,
Just
look.
now,
Let me ask you if
you're not
you
going to
here. Let's
go.
let's find out if this holds muster. If I ask you what are the three laws of logic? Can you tell me?
No,
No. Can I? If I ask you what are metaphysics? Can you tell me?
no.
Can you tell me what epistemology is?
That is the knowing like what the truth is and the difference between a belief and or an opinion.
No, but it's still. I mean, it's still a good try. I'm not going to beat you up about it. But what about ontology?
No.
No. Okay, so the thing is like these are very basic forms of philosophy that most people kind of leave on the table. But if you had checked out the course, you would know that I brought in experts, guys who do have PhDs, like David Patrick Harry and others who are famous Christian apologists. And they sit down and go over what all of those terms mean, why they mean those things, and how you can apply them to your knowledge base. And it helps to equip you in the future if you are having ideological combat with a leftist, especially from a Christian paradigm.
but without any kind of measure or metric of expertise at the end of it, without some sort of guaranteed level of, if you have completed this, this is the knowledge that you will have, and this is the level at which you will be able to debate, without giving that level of accreditation to it.
Accreditation from whom?
I mean, there are accredited, like, the actual debate societies in America are
Do you think
accredited.
that I'm running some kind of actual polished college or something that you have a 4-year degree or an associate's degree at? Or did I market that I would build out a course that's roughly 7 hours that would assist you with debating ideologies online? Because I'm pretty confident that that's what I marketed. Now, if
No,
you
but
have
that is
evidence that I marketed something besides that, I would like to hear it and see it, but I'm 100% confident that that's exactly what I marketed and that that's exactly what people are buying.
I don't believe that you are dumb enough to think that your words don't hold meaning. And I don't believe that
Well, I
you
don't think you're
just
dumb
use,
enough to think, well, don't all words hold meaning?
of course, but
No, go ahead.
I'm saying that I don't think that you chose verbal combat and framed things as a war. I don't think that you chose university just willy-nilly because it,
I
rolled off
didn't.
the tongue well.
But I just gave you an accounting, which is completely reasonable. I told you exactly where verbal combat came from. I told you exactly what the inspiration for that was. I did tell you that I believe that there's a grounded ideological war going on between the right and the left and between these ideological paradigms. And that course will assist you if you are engaging in those ideological paradigms, which more and more people are. It'll assist you in crafting your arguments for those paradigms. That's the way it was marketed. That's the way it's always been marketed. If you can tell me what's actually wrong with that, I'd like to know.
Sure. It's that when you phrase things in terms of combat or in terms of war, you actually trigger the fight or flight response of your audience.
Good.
You don't honestly believe that the right and the left are at a war outside of social media.
I
There's
just
no
want to
way.
let you know, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, okay?
Mhm.
But the left has, from my view, murdered an entire generation of human beings, murdered them, and is currently right now fighting on the streets in order to get the right to murder more of them. Do I honestly believe that? Not a joke, not kidding. From my paradigm, they literally kill babies by the million, by the millions. Do I think that that's a war, a spiritual war, and an ideological war? You bet your fucking ass I do. Do I think that there's an ideological battle which is going on when the assessors of these paradigms try to describe for me that you, a female, are every bit as much only a woman as the male who puts on a wig and pretends that they're you? Do you think I don't think that these are ideological battlefields? You're out of your fucking mind. Not only do I believe that 100%, but it can demonstrate it to you. I can demonstrate right now that we have been in basically an ideological Cold War for somewhere north of 60 fucking years. Yes. Yes, 100% I believe it. Not only do I believe it, but I wanted to equip people with some way to combat that, some way to do that better, because I happen to be very good at it. It's a skill I have.
Well, in fairness, I do think that you probably believe that abortion is murder, and I will agree that you believe that that part is actually violent and at the same level of a war. Fine, I won't try to say that you don't. If you are genuinely a Christian, you probably do believe that. What is
So
this
then you just made a
ideological
concession. So you just made a concession there
for
that
abortion?
I believe
Sure.
that we're in an ideological war.
On that one topic,
Yeah,
yes.
so I think that leftists are doing everything in their power to destroy Christianity from the ground up. I think that that's their entire goal. I think that we can see it in the models of the NGOs that give millions and millions of dollars to leftist infiltration units whose entire job is to go in and give retraining to clergy. I've covered this many, many times on my stream and given the NGOs out and shown the evidence for this. Do I think that that's ideological in nature? Yes. Yes, I do. Do I think that this is a battle? I do think it's a battle. Do I think that because we're not using guns and ammo and bombs and tanks, it's any less of a war? I do not.
I think that you're lying through your teeth.
Prove it.
Well, I mean, you have a tell of raising your eyebrows a specific way when you seem to get.
You're going to use
You have to
psychology
try it.
when I
That's
raise my eyebrow. It's a tell of a lie. Okay, well
not
here,
that
hang on. Let's see. You're a beautiful woman.
That's not the way you were raising your eyebrows.
Sorry.
That's not the way you were raising your eyebrows to be the tell. But all I'm saying is that it's, as the average human, I can see through a crock of shit when I hear it. It's very obvious.
Nice.
So
This is what's called an argument from incredulity. It's perfectly acceptable for me to believe that you believe that I'm full of shit. But your job right now is not to tell me what you believe. Your job right now is to demonstrate that that is the case. Now, I'm willing 100% to engage with whatever it is you bring to the table
Sure.
to actually demonstrate that you think that I'm lying. But this has been consistent with my online presence since I was fucking, I don't know, in my late 20s.
So then why do you not get involved in actual politics, actual like on the ground politics? Why do you not run for anything?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you a couple things that I've experienced here, learning from different creators, especially. One, it does not transfer over well. Being very popular online doesn't necessarily transfer over very well to popularity in the mainstream. If you're a big movie star, perhaps like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Jesse Ventura, people like this, that can transfer over fairly well. You're a household name. When it comes to online popularity, however, that does not transfer over well for grassroots. And there's many content creators who've gone that route, like Sargon of Akkad, for instance, went that route. Destiny went that route when he tried to do canvassing campaigns, and many other did. And it was an abysmal failure, even though they're very popular online. It's very possible, I know you've probably never thought about this, but the translation of the skill set that I have may not translate well to IRL politics, but may translate well to informing IRL politics.
So you put in absolutely no work outside of just these online debates and streams for your ideology.
No,
That's your form of
I
engaging.
didn't say
in
that at
commerce?
all. I engage
So what do
with
you do?
politicians all over the place, assist them with arguments. I've assisted with grassroots campaigns, which have been spearheaded largely by a guy who works for me named Rob Knorr, who interacts with the RNC on a regular basis. And we've helped to change a lot of the conversation when it comes to this. But that and me being a skillful IRL politician are two very different things. Do you realize that politicians, for instance, have political strategists? They have speech writers. They have rhetorical trainers. They have people who assist them in all aspects of political strategy. It's not just Andrew's really good and informed on politics, and so therefore he'll be a good politician. It doesn't always transfer over that way. And by the way, nobody's better at knowing my skill set than me. Certainly not you.
I mean, I've seen your display of skills online. So
have you?
I've seen more than I'd like, but why not hire those people if you want to enact change?
I did hire them.
No, I'm saying why not?
Anything else? I did hire them. What do you mean?
Why not hire a political strategist? Why not hire?
I did hire one. What do you mean?
Oh, so then why not make your foray into politics?
Because people go where they're effective.
And you wouldn't be an effective leader. You wouldn't be effective.
Well, now you're conflating things. You think that leadership can only be confined to the political, but it's not. And the thing is, that's funny here. That's interesting, especially, is that why do I need to confine myself to the ideas of what you have for politics when clearly you don't know much about politics? I just walked you through. There's a multitude of skill sets that people have that would be applicable to the worldview. Some people are very good at being in front of cameras, IRL, and, kind of delivering the rhetoric that way. They're very likable, perhaps. They have all sorts of various skill sets which would gravitate people towards them. But they also need people to craft arguments, to be supportive influencers, et cetera, et cetera. So just because I'm on one front of the ideological battle and not directly on the political front doesn't mean I'm not engaged on the political front. That's just absurd.
Would you argue that there are some people in this world that set a goal for themselves that they can never achieve? Would you say that that's the thing that happens pretty often?
They set a goal for themselves that they can never achieve.
and that they know that they can never achieve, but they sort of make that their long-term end goal.
I don't know if I believe that or not.
Okay. I would argue that it's true. There's a lot of people that
Can you demonstrate it through something other than an assertion?
Sure. There's one of the talking points of the whole anti-feminist movement. Is there are women who say that feminism is cancer and they want to end the vote of the women in the West. That's never going to happen.
Why not? Why won't it ever happen?
Because of what we have in place just within our democracy. That's not something.
Do you realize that suffrage, universal suffrage, is a new idea?
Yeah, I do.
Why? So it's very convenient for status quo individuals to say that such things like this will never be repealed or contracted. When we look at Roe v. Wade, which was also part of the status quo and it was overturned. Political ideologies change cross-generationally. And we're moving into a new series of generations as the boomers die off. I don't think you should feel as secure in the idea of suffrage as you seem to think you should. That's not what the political current is, at least that I see.
Roe v. Wade was not inscribed in the Constitution. Women's suffrage is. It's much harder to overturn an actual amendment.
So was slavery.
Yes. And then it was.
And then it was. Exactly. And so was prohibition. The ban on alcohol was also inscribed in the Constitution. Women got that pushed through long before they ever had the right to vote. They were able to because they were set in a moral high ground, they weren't just political cogs, they were able to actually get an amendment passed long before they could ever vote. Isn't that interesting? So the thing is, it's really funny about this is like you can point to constitutional amendments and say it's inscribed in the Constitution, but remember, it's not really. It's an amendment to the Constitution. The Constitution's been amended many times, and it'll be amended many more.
If we start to branch this way, then we're going to move into secularism and away.
Well, I would like to finish the discussion before we get to.
I would agree with that.
Before we get to your lack of understanding of the source material of feminism, I would like for you to just go ahead and demonstrate in very simple words why it is that you think I'm a grifter. Because is your only evidence, your only compelling evidence that you think that I used university in debate university, and that the people who buy the course are so fucking stupid that they think that they're going to get some kind of actual accredited degree because of that, and that therefore they're being fleeced and that it was marketed this way? Or are you saying something besides that?
I am saying something besides that.
Okay. What are you saying then? Make it clear for me.
Okay. I am saying that this framing that these online informal debates creates is that we are at this war, the left and the right. Everybody's at each other's throats and we're incredibly polarized. And I have had the privilege of traveling the country and also the world for my job. And that is by and large not the case. That is not what is happening on the streets and in day to day. It certainly is what's happening online in these spaces because they are very satisfying to the algorithm.
Yeah, I actually agree with that point, that in your day-to-day interactions, things will seem like they're completely normal. They also did in war-torn France during World War II and in Nazi Germany. The entire nation's at war, and the ideologies are so incredibly over the top that you had rise of brand new ones like fascism and others. But in the day-to-day lives of the people inside of the state, not much changed until it does. Until it does.
I'm saying that the ideologies of the people are not at this high stakes level of war, and it's not these intensely polarizing communities.
Well, forgive me if I don't believe that you're having intense ideological discussions with your friends and people, randoms that you meet on the street. I don't believe that that's the case because I don't even think it's possible. I don't think you're meeting random people on the street who are going about their day shopping and doing the various activities people do in their daily life and stopping them and saying, hey, by the way, do you think that ideologically leftists have killed millions of people through abortion? I don't believe that you're asking them that. And I think you would be shocked to hear the answers because pollsters do ask them that. And so the thing is like, while it's true that there's something called the normalcy bias, right? And you saw this during COVID-19. The normalcy bias, people will try to interact as they've always interacted, even as the world around them is falling apart.
So you're incorrect in that assumption. That is exactly what I do. That is what I do for my day
job. Show me where I can see that. Show me some evidence of that.
Due to my NDA, I cannot reveal the shows.
Well, that's awful convenient, isn't it?
that's just the reality. I'm not willing to risk my job for this.
Yeah, well, that's awful convenient that you say I do thing, but could never demonstrate to you that I do.
Once once I move on from this particular show, I am happy to come back and let you know what the show was. But while I work on it, I'm not allowed to say what it is.
Well, whatever the show is, where people are
But that
going
is
out
what I
and
do.
asking about ideologies, if it is the case that you think that ideologies are not polarized right now in 2025, then you're just simply not telling the truth.
No, I am telling the truth, but
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
Well,
is
then
that
how come every single pollster and every single political commentator seems to disagree with you based on the current data of the people that they poll and what it is that they believe? Why is it that it's so ideologically brutal right now that we're waiting for constitutional crises? Why is Trump sending the military into various states? It doesn't appear that things are nearly so ideologically stable as you seem to be pretending.
For the average person, it is. The average person all wants the same things at the end of the day. We all basically want the same things. We all have the same things that we're striving for. We're not actually that divided. That's my whole point, is that these online informal debates are fostering that divide. It's just pushing it forward. It's making you think this person is, this side, this ideology is out to get you. And I am the only one, Andrew Wilson, can sell you a course so that you're equipped with mental and verbal armor. I'll give you the verbal grenades to go ahead and launch at your opponents. When in reality, it's not that. It's not, nobody is actually benefiting from your ideological armor. It's just not happening, Andrew. Let's be real with each other.
Can you demonstrate it?
I can demonstrate that what you are arguing just doesn't happen in the real world. It only happens here online.
Then demonstrate it.
How would you like me to demonstrate it, Andrew?
However you can demonstrate it, I'm willing to listen.
I'm telling you that through my own experience of being out there in the world, and not just anecdotally, not just from what I have experienced, but just out in the world.
I'm telling you from my own experience, but not telling you from my own experience. Is that right?
I am speaking partly from my own experience.
And what are you
However,
speaking? What is the other part that you're speaking from besides your own experience?
If you ask people what their values are, what their core values are, they all pretty much line up. And that is true in the polls. People want their families protected. People want to feel safe. People want their lives protected. Now, the finer details, sure, if we want to get pedantic about it, we can. And that's where things differ. But a lot of these ideological wars are problems that are made up. And we think that they're bigger issues than they are.
Was January 6th made up?
No.
Okay.
What does January 6th have to do
Well,
with
I'm just saying, I think it's really interesting that as we see unrest in the street, as we literally see what just happened in the California riots due to illegal immigrants, we see people say that they want less illegal immigration inside of their nation, they want less diversity, they want less of these things overwhelmingly, and then overwhelmingly vote for a president who says that they're going to deliver on those things. It sure seems like an ideological divide to me on Main Street, not just from some elitist online or some rhetorician somewhere. It certainly seems to me like these are things that people take seriously and that they're having struggles with. Now, when you say this sort of nonsense like this, you say, hey, Andrew, look, we all have some shared needs. That's true. We all want to see our families protected. We all want food to eat. We all want safety. All of those things are true. But you realize the distinction between ideologies is how we get there. That's how we get to those things. The various ideas of safety. Let's take the trans movement, for instance, right? The entirety right now of the political polarization behind transgenderism is that women don't feel safe in their own sports, do they? They're tired of getting their shit pushed in. They're tired of getting their faces bashed in. They're tired of getting humiliated by men in wigs. They don't feel very fucking safe, do they? And so it becomes very ideological. It's funny, they want the same things you want. They want safety and this and that. But they seem to think that they're not very safe right now when it comes to this particular issue. And so other people, though, they do. And that's how you end up with ideological divides, right?
Are you framing that there's like a mass movement of trans women in women's sports right now? I can only think of a couple instances.
No, I'm pointing out to you something which is objectively true, which is the feeling of safety. When you say that there's shared values that people have across the board, I'm willing to concede that that's true because it's obvious. It doesn't even need empirical evidence, nor I think even a logical syllogism is necessary for this. It's observable by almost everybody on planet Earth. People have shared needs. Safety, one of the things that you cited, is one of those needs. But safety also comes at the expense of a feeling, doesn't it? I feel safe. It's not objective all the time, is it? You can be unsafe, for instance, and feel safe. But this is all branched around the feeling of safety. And women right now don't feel safe in sports, even if they're not dealing with any transgenders, and that creates ideological divides.
What can you point to that shows that women by and large don't feel safe in sports? Though this is not, I'm not even here to debate the merits of trans athletes, but I think that that's a bit of a claim to say that women in college sport or any sports are fearful of that actively.
Do you agree with me that there's tens of thousands of anti-trans activists in the United States?
I don't know. I've never looked at those figures.
Okay. Well, there are. Tens of thousands of anti-trans activists. I can point you to J.K. Rowling, for instance, who's a very prominent online figure, and her media has been seen by I don't know how many millions of people and made into movies and everything else. And she's a prominent, what is called, and I'll tell you what they're called. They're called TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists. And
fantastic.
Yeah, and
real quick. So J.K. Rowling feels unsafe in women's sports?
She feels that women's sports are unsafe, and many of the advocates who are trying to push people out. Yes.
But she's not a participant in women's sports.
Do you need to be a participant in women's sports in order to point out that women's sports is not safe for women?
Yeah, I would argue that if all of the female athletes in female sports, or the majority even, came out and said, I do not feel safe within female sports right now, then I would say, okay, absolutely. That's a problem that we need to look at.
I agree. I guess that's why so many universities recently changed their policies so that trans athletes can't compete anymore against women if they're males. I guess they must have gotten some feedback from their faculty, which they did, and from their students, which they did, that they no longer wanted to have them participate. And you know what the number one reason that they cited was? They didn't feel safe.
So it's not even happening anymore. There's been laws passed.
It's still happening. Yes, of course it's happening.
You just said that colleges have outlawed.
I said many colleges have have reversed policies that they had on this, specifically because of the feelings of safety from the athletes who were involved in these various programs.
Okay, so now their athletes are no longer feeling unsafe?
And they're not feeling unsafe because ideology was able to reverse policy? Yeah.
Oh, I'm going back to what you were saying, where you're saying the number one thing in number one issue with transgender issues in the U.S.
Now, don't straw man my position. I didn't say that's the number one issue with transgenders in the U.S. What I told you, I was speaking to ideological distinctions and how the feeling of safety is paramount when it comes to the idea of trans sports. Not that that's the number one issue with transgender anything, only that I can easily use that as an example for how ideology transfers over to the mainstream and affects policy.
I have no background or information on transgender people participating in sports. I don't play sports.
I don't think you have a lot of background information on anything. Honestly, because you think that people don't have ideological divides on Main Street because you see them buying their fucking salads and their chicken sandwiches and not talking about how they hate the trans out in public, right? But the thing is so funny about it is like,
you think I'm a food reviewer?
No. The point that I'm making to you is that whatever your anecdotal evidences are of people who are out in the mainstream due to the normalcy bias acting as though everything is perfectly acceptable is the same thing that you would find in war-torn France, war-torn Germany, war-torn Russia. People are always moving towards the idea of normalcy, even if there are major ideological divides. And by the way, you still haven't demonstrated in any way, shape, or form how I'm an actual grifter other than you put university in the name of a course that you sold and marketed as a way to up your debate skills. And you haven't watched it, so you can't even criticize it, nor do you know what the guest list was that came on, who are PhDs, one a PhD in religions. And the whole point was to show you how it is that you can make ideological arguments from a religious worldview and not look like a fucking stupid fool. And guess what? I had experts come in who did exactly that. Many prominent experts, in fact, and many more to come. So I'm not really sure how it is that I'm grifting.
Again,
And on that note, I did want to interrupt and just let you know you are at about the half-hour mark for that. So it's up to you if you want to continue there or if you wanted to start moving into your other points. It's up to the two of you.
I'm fine either
Or
way.
do you want to wrap
Do you
this
feel
up
like
maybe
you
in the next?
successfully demonstrated that I was a grifter, or did you have anything more you wanted to say on that point?
As I'm trying to say to you, Andrew, is that I believe that you are a grifter because you are pushing forth this narrative that is simply untrue. And while you say that, oh, I'm talking to people about chicken sandwiches or whatever the fuck, that's not what I'm talking about to them, to the people on the street. I am talking to them about their ideologies, about these specific difficult issues. And by and large, most people are actually pretty in line with one another. It's very, very fractional margins about these like niche issues like trans people in sports, which at the end of the day does not overwhelmingly affect the population. Sure, there's disagreements about that, but it's also not war. It's not a battle. Nobody's losing their life over it. Nobody's actively in danger in these whether it's trans sports or gay marriage or whatever the fuck. Nobody's actually in danger from any of that. So it's crazy to frame it as combat and as battle. That is intentionally trying to trigger the fight or flight response in your audience.
Oh, I'm
And
not.
that
I'm not intentionally trying to trigger a fight or flight response. I am intentionally explaining exactly what I think, which is that it is an ideological battle, that millions of people have lost their lives in the womb, smited by their own mothers due to the propaganda of the state and feminism, and that is something which has happened, and from my view, is mass murder. I have pointed out multiple times that there's a massive illegal immigration crisis which is going on, which has cost thousands upon thousands of people their lives in crime, even more in fentanyl and overdosing, even more in the drug trade which is going on there, which is going on due to the illegal immigration which is happening in the nation. I can go on and on and on and on and on, but when you make these crazy-ass claims nobody's losing their lives, you're quite wrong. They are losing their lives. They get killed often. Hang on. They get killed often enough that Chicago is a battleground, a literal war zone going on in Chicago. More people were losing their lives there a day than were losing their lives in Afghanistan during the war. Were you aware of that? Yes, not kidding. Look up the stats yourself. Look it up yourself. It is the case that there are literal fucking war zones and battlegrounds right now in the United States. You just don't know anything about it because you've never looked into it. But some of us have. And the thing is that it's nice that you go into these hunky-dory neighborhoods and ask people who are out doing their daily stuff, maybe, what their ideology is. But remember, there's also something called phraseology. And the idea is, here you can actually phrase questions in a way which affirms bias. So I don't, like, you're so ignorant on these issues, it's difficult for me to even trust what you're saying to me right now. It's actually difficult for me to. Why would you raise a skeptical eyebrow when I mention Chicago? Why? You don't know how bad things are there? What about Detroit? Do you know how bad things are there? It's fucking bad. I don't know what to tell you. It's real bad. It's not good.
Well, I will say this as somebody who has been to literal active war zones and somebody who has been to Chicago and to Detroit.
What active war zones have you been in?
I've been to Syria and I've been to Yemen.
What active war zones were you in?
Syria, which is...
No. That's a country. I'm asking about an active war zone, not if there's a war going on in the country, but you were happened to be in the country when there was a war. What war zone were you in? Did you see the battle of with your own eyes because you were there and you were watching people blow each other to bits, or did you happen to go to the country while a war was going on and you were in the safety zones? Which one's actually true?
I have seen a bomb go off and I have seen people die in front of me.
Where? Where did that happen?
In Syria, in Yemen.
So in Syria, you were a war correspondent and you watched people get blown up?
I wasn't a war correspondent, but I have been in dangerous places. Mm-hmm. So I've been to Syria, I've been to Yemen, I have been to Israel as well. So I've seen the front lines of what war is, and it is horrific, and that is dangerous. And That's
really funny that you went to Israel. And you don't realize that entire war that's going on there is ideological. Very little of it is actually physical. It's almost all ideological.
Are you arguing that? Okay, I was not talking about politically outside of the U.S. When I talk about the grifting that you're doing, I am assuming that that is going to U.S. consumers or maybe people in Canada, but English-speaking.
I think people worldwide have bought the course.
Okay, you know what? Then
it's global grifting, baby. Global grifting. That university in the name is just making people lap it up. They're so fucking stupid. They don't realize it, even though all the marketing that I did was that, hey, this will probably assist you with your debate skills. And it seems to have actually done just that. Actually, these people are so stupid, they thought that they were going to get like a fucking, I don't know, a diploma inside of the Cracker Jacks box. I don't know what it is that you actually think here, but
Baby, if you were saying that if your course is helping the folks in the Congo and in Palestine and in Yemen, then more power to you.
Do you think that people? Do you think that people who are in different nations may have different priorities for the things that they value? Like perhaps people in the Congo value monkey brains more than they do debate, but perhaps people who live in the middle of the UK who are in an ideological battle from tons and tons of Muslims being imported into their country may need to have an edge in political debate because that's the problem they're dealing with. Do you think that maybe problems are diverse around the world and that the debate course wasn't designed to solve AIDS in Africa?
Andrew, my whole point just now was that I imagine that your courses and your content is being pushed to the US and to Canada and to English-speaking nations that are more in line with what we're dealing with here in the US and not actually what's going on in war-torn places. But we're getting off track.
So what's the grift?
Again, my argument for your grift is that things here in the US, it's not a war zone. Ideologically, it's not a war. Online, it may seem like that because the algorithm is pushing to people that it is, because people tend to engage with the content that they hate more than the content that they love. If you trigger somebody's fight or flight, and if you trigger that level of cortisol rise in them, they're going to stick around and they're going to consume that content. It's not healthy for them. It results in increased levels of anxiety, in isolation, in depression, in suicidal ideation. It's not good.
Link the study.
That's NIH Library of Medicine. I don't have a
NIH
laptop.
Library of Medicine. What's it called?
It's, if you look up how the consequences of hate watching, I think is what I ended up looking up to
the consequences of hate watching.
That's been a study that they've done to see what the effects on these hateful content watching is doing to people. But also,
let's just make sure that we got this right. I just want to make sure that we get it correct because I don't want to cite the wrong study. National Library of Medicine, perhaps?
National Library of Medicine, sponsored by the NIH, yes.
Okay. So are you talking about this one that... let's just make sure I got this right here. That way...
one that says exposure to hate.
Yeah, so this is researchers from NLM and the National Cancer Institute have developed artificial intelligence algorithm to speed up the process of matching. That doesn't sound right.
No, that's not.
You were saying with the hate in online and traditional media, correct?
That may have been it. It would behoove me to have a laptop in front of me.
I'm gonna drop it. I guess you can't say it, but I thought that's what you were stating too. Is the social platforms and the online hate stuff?
That may very well be the study, but again,
okay.
Let's find out. Hang on.
I'm dropping that backstage.
Yeah, we'll just
you want that one.
Hang on. Let's pull it up and we'll take a peek here. Let's make sure that we got this right. Exposed to hate in online traditional media, systematic review and meta-analysis of the impact of this exposure on individuals and communities. Does that sound like the study?
It could be. Again, I'm not sure if that's
Does it
right
start with the problem? People use social media platforms to chat, search, and share information to express their opinions and connect with others. But these platforms also facilitate the positive of divisive, harmful, and hateful messaging, targeting groups and individuals based on their religion, gender, sexual orientation, political views.
I have read that, but I don't believe that that's what I'm citing.
You don't believe that that's what you're citing?
No, I think that one was based more upon receiving hate, like hate comments and such.
So you came to the debate, and you were going to source the evidence, and the evidence that you're sourcing is, I don't know, I can't source the evidence. You don't even
I mean,
remember
I
what
told
the
you
study name is. We have to Google it instead and hope that we hit the right study. Is that what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to how many of these studies should we read so that we can tell if you're telling the truth about this or not? By the way, I just took a look at that particular study. It was 230 pages. How long did it take you to read this study? Just out of curiosity.
I wasn't clocking it. I don't know. I don't have a
Roughly
timer on when I read things. I don't know. It could have taken me days. It could have taken me a few hours. I don't know.
Can you cite for me or at least tell me just off the top of your head, since you read the entire study, what the methodology was for it, and was there a meta-analysis associated with it?
No, I can't.
You can't tell me. So you don't know if there was a meta-analysis, and you don't know what the methodology of the study that you read was.
I didn't memorize the study.
I'm not asking if you memorized it, but you should, off the cuff. There's a whole big portion. The methodology for how studies are conducted is extremely important, especially when you're talking about something which you're talking about here, which is sociology. So sociology, that suffers from the.
But I'm not going to retain all of that.
I'm asking you to retain any of it. Can you tell me anything about the methodology? Literally anything. Can you give me anything about the method? One thing about the methodology.
It's out in front of me. No, I don't have a photographic
So you don't remember
memory.
a single thing about the methodology. You can't. Was it men and women? Do you even remember that?
Yes, it was men and women.
Okay, and then what were the ages?
I don't remember.
You don't know.
Answer.
Okay, what were and were they postmenopausal? Was that cited? Postmenopausal women?
It very well could have been, but,
but you don't remember.
I don't have a photographic memory.
That's not a photographic memory. If you're coming to a debate, and the crux of your argument is to cite for evidence a study which you supposedly read to prove that guys like me have a negative impact on society based on something other than your personal incredulity, you better damn well at least understand the basic methodology of sociological studies and what the damn thing said.
Thanks for watching. There is hope in Jesus Christ. He will never leave you or forsake you. Like and subscribe and join our Discord for friends and more.